What's going on, everyone? This is Eric Martinez from Dynamic Duo Training.
And this is Chris Martinez.
And today we're back at the drawing board with a new educational video for all you guys. And since you know we're such huge advocates of flexible dieting, we believe in all of it. We do it ourselves. We use it for our clients. The whole shebang.
Nah, but I like to eat clean.
Yeah, so we're going to give you some tips on flexible dieting as metabolic capacity winds down. And for those of you that don't really know what I mean by metabolic capacity, it's just pretty much your metabolic cushion and the ability of calories you have, while dieting down. Okay, that's pretty much what your metabolic capacity can be summarized as. So, with that said, we're going to knock out 4 bullet points just to really give you guys some tips on what to do as your calories get lower and lower. Okay, so Chris will start off with the first one and we'll just roll with it.
Boom. All right, so bullet point number 1, know your numbers at all times. Okay, so when you diet, and obviously if you're following flexible dieting, you're going to have a set of macros to follow. Okay, I don't know if you guys are going to have high days or whatnot, but let's just say you have a set of macros to follow throughout the week. Okay, now you need to know your numbers and you need to space out your meals and your numbers wisely. Okay, so let's say if you have 200 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and you spread it over 4 meals, that's going to be about 50 grams of carbs per each meal, okay, and 50 grams of protein per each meal. And what I see a lot of people doing with flexible dieting, how they abuse it, is they sit there and they'll have 10 grams of protein at one meal, and then they'll try to make up for it and have like 80 grams of protein for their last meal, or vice versa with carbs. You know what I mean? They'll have 20 grams of carbs at one meal, then they'll try to make up for like 100 grams of carbs, before bed or something like that. And it's like, why would you do that? Why don't you just sit there and just know your numbers at all times and, space them out evenly throughout all of your guys' meals? And I'm not saying, I'm not sitting here saying that I have evidence saying that like this is the correct way or anything like that, because I mean, we're advocates with our clients to partition their carbs around their pre and post workout, and then whatever carbs you have left, it definitely is personal preference. I shouldn't sit here and say that it's like an exact number you have to hit, but it's personal preference. But just for a tip for you guys, while you guys have you guys are dieting and metabolic capacity is winding down, just know your numbers at all times. Space out your macronutrients evenly throughout all your meals, and just make your life a little bit easier.
Alrighty, so tip number 2, cut down on the non-traditional foods and start using more whole foods, more minimally refined foods. Foods that are going to keep your energy levels up more, foods that are keep you your satiation levels higher, stuff like that. Okay, because I mean, when your metabolic capacity is higher, I mean, yes, you have more caloric cushion to sit there and fit in non-traditional foods like Skinny Cows, Pop-Tarts, little other goodies, okay? But those really don't have any nutritional value at the end of the day if you really sit and think about it. So, let's say you're getting down to about like 100 grams of carbs per day. It's probably not a wise thing to sit there and have like a Skinny Cow or a Pop-Tart that's going to take out about 30 to 35 grams of your carbs, okay? So you want, more complex carbs, that are going to just take longer to break down in your digestive system. And that's going to be more filling. It's going to keep you, more full throughout the day. So a couple ideas of some whole foods you could just go with would be like maybe some potatoes, some brown rice, some grains, a lot of other different things out there that you could really substitute in there. But main point on this one is just like Chris said too, know where your numbers are at, and if your carb numbers and stuff are on the low end of the range, I mean, just don't, it's simple. Just cut out those non-traditional, food sources and make better choices that are going to be, more valuable.
All right, bullet point number 3, satiation and energy levels. Okay, so obviously when you first start out on a diet, you're going to have more calories and more metabolic capacity to work with, right? But as you get deeper into your diet, say 12 weeks in, maybe 16 weeks in, you're not going to have so much metabolic cushion and capacity to work with, because calories are trickling down, macros are trickling down, carbs and fats are going down. So you got to be really wise about, keeping satiation levels high and energy levels high. So that goes back to substituting whole foods with non-traditional foods. Okay, so you can keep satiation levels elevated, energy levels elevated, and have productive workouts. Okay, and feel good throughout the day, pretty much. So.
Okay, last bullet point, meal frequency from high to low. And what we mean by that is, normally if you have a lot of metabolic capacity to work with, you're working with a lot of calories throughout the day. I mean, yeah, it's going to be probably better to break down all those calories into, say, 5 meals as opposed to 3 or 4 meals. So, as metabolic capacity goes down, vice versa, we recommend to go from, we recommend the meal frequency to go from high to low. So maybe like 3 to 4 meals, depending on where your macros are at. But I mean, it just makes more sense, have bigger portions of the meals of food that's going to, keep your satiation levels higher. You're not going to get as hungry, just more filling. So pretty much that's our point on that.
I mean, you will have to definitely space out your meals a lot longer if you cut down the meal frequency to 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
But like we said, they're going to be bigger meals, though. Depending on your metabolic capacity and your macros. So they're going to be bigger meals. They're going to be more filling. You're going to substitute them with whole foods instead of non-traditional foods. So you're going to stay fuller for longer. Energy level is going to be higher than normal. So
right, and protein intake is going to be higher. So I mean, you're going to obviously get a lot of that satiation through protein sources. But yeah, it just goes back to the same thing, making better choices with your carb sources is going to hold you off longer throughout the day throughout those meals.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically some 4 bullet points and tips on what we have when flexible dieting as metabolic capacity winds down. Hope that helps you guys out. If you guys have any questions, shoot us an email at dynamicduotraining@gmail.com. Don't leave us a comment because something's going on with this stupid Google Plus thing and we can't reply to certain people and we want to get back to everybody's questions. So send us an email, please, okay? Other than that, subscribe to our channel. Visit us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Peace, guys.